Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to see you again in today's news program. Here, we and you will share and interact with the latest news and hottest events that are of interest to domestic and international public opinion.
In the early morning of 23rd, residents of the capital Tehran and neighboring areas of Iran heard many explosions. Air defense system was activated. According to Ava.pro, these incidents occurred in many different locations. Specifically, at about 0:51 on 23rd local time, the air defense system was activated in the Lavisan area, east of the capital Tehran, where there are many military and government facilities. A source from Ava.pro said that the air defense was reinforced in Lavisan, Tehran. 2 minutes later, in the Nematabaz area in the south of the capital Tehran, residents also heard a loud explosion. Many witnesses said we heard an explosion in Netabat south of Tehran. According to another source from Avia.pro, at 0:54, anti-aircraft guns and explosions were also heard in South K, a city northwest of Tehran. Meanwhile, residents in the Tirana and PhD districts in the west of the Iranian capital also said they heard 2 loud explosions the previous evening. According to initial reports, the explosions occurred near Merabat International Airport. Information about the explosions has spread on social media. Locals said there were flashes of light in the sky and emergency services were also on the move. However, so far, official Iranian sources have not confirmed the nature or cause of these incidents. Iranian officials have not commented and there have been no reports of damage or casualties. The situation is said to be under control. According to Ava.pro, the above developments occurred in the context of many tensions in the region. Last weekend, Iran's Revolutionary Guards IRGC warned that it would retaliate if attacked by its opponents. The statement comes after reports of missile tests near the capital and unusual nighttime military activity amid rising tensions with Israel. According to Iran International, a senior Iranian lawmaker said the country had successfully tested one of its most advanced missiles, including its first intercontinental ballistic missile. The lawmakers stressed that the missile test amid tensions with Israel and the U.S. showed Iran's military might.
On January 22, Kremlin spokesman Mikhail Peskov announced that the country supports resolving the Israel-Palestine conflict on the basis of a two-state approach. We remain committed to the basic resolutions of the UN Security Council and remain committed to the international position on the possibility of resolving the Palestinian-Syrian issue on the basis of a two-state approach, he said. According to Mr. Peskov, Russia still believes that the two-state solution is the only way to resolve the conflict in the Middle East. The Kremlin spokesman said that this is still our approach and we believe that it is the only way to find a solution to this extremely complex and protracted conflict, which is perhaps at its most intense and tragic stage in history. Moscow has repeatedly stated that the two-state solution is the only way to de-escalate and end the conflict in the Gaza Strip. As the legitimate successor state of the Soviet Union, Russia has long recognized the state of Palestine. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to date have mainly revolved around the two-state solution, meaning an independent Palestinian state, coexisting with the state of Syrian along the border internationally recognized before 1967. Palestinians continue to call for the establishment of an independent state that would include the occupied West Bank, East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip, territories controlled by Israel after the 1967 war. However, the Israeli government and most political parties in the country have long opposed recognition of a Palestinian state. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that a two-state solution is the only viable way to resolve the current Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In a statement in October 2023, the Russian leader said the goal of negotiations must be to implement the UN two-state formula, which would establish an independent Palestinian state that coexists peacefully and provides security with Israel. President Putin stressed that it is important to work to resolve this issue by peaceful means. Putin said Russia is ready to act as a mediator in resolving the Palestinian issue. Israel.
During a recent visit to the Motovilik factory, a nearly 300-year-old artillery production facility, President Vladimir Putin affirmed that Russia has expanded its defense production scale like never before. The Russian leader emphasized that with some types of weapons, the output has not only increased by a few percent but has increased by 2, 3, 15 times, even 30 times. And the quality has also improved. Modern technology meets the demand. Motovilic is a factory famous for its closed artillery production line, which has played a pivotal role in the history of the Russian defense industry. At the same time, the ANMIS anti-group said that by 2025 it would more than double the output of the S-350 VAS and S-400 Kayam air defense systems, and master the production lines of new types of missiles. Ukina estimates that Russia has consumed 50 to 75% of these reserves but still maintains a large enough new production capacity to respond. Mr. Skibisky said that Russia is focusing on weapons that have proven effective in real combat. In 2025, the Russian military plans to produce nearly 2,500 high-precision missiles including TL Iskander, Kinnan hypersonic missiles and other cruise missiles. In particular, the sharp increase in the production of unmanned aircraft such as Garin, HPI and FPV has become a top priority. In the armored sector, Russia has reduced its fleet to three main types of tanks such as T-90, T-14 Amat and T-80. Artillery focuses on new or deeply modernized systems such as Koalitia, SV, MTA, Monva, Gasin and Magnolia. According to the assessment of the Ukrainian provincial newspaper, despite the tightening of Western sanctions, Russia still seeks to maintain the supply chain and avoid bottlenecks in defense production.
In the midst of the battlefield filled with the buzzing of drones, compact but agile remote-controlled armored vehicles are weaving through piles of rubble, replacing humans to carry out dangerous missions. In the context of declining human resources after more than 3.5 years of war, the Ukrainian army has special expectations for robots on wheels. They look like small tanks that can replace soldiers to shoulder many heavy tasks from transporting necessities, clearing bombs to evacuating the wounded or cleaning up dead soldiers. A platoon commander of the 20th Lubat Brigade, nicknamed Miami, said that they cannot completely replace humans, but there are situations where it is too dangerous for humans to participate in combat. These robotic vehicles are mainly produced by Ukrainian enterprises with prices ranging from about $1,000 to $64,000 depending on size and capacity. Along the more than 1,000 kilometers long front line, they have become essential tools. The concept of remote-controlled combat vehicles is not new. During World War II, the German army used the Goliath, a type of microtank with a control wire. Decades later, the US, Israel, the UK and China have all developed modern versions, mainly for the purpose of intelligence work and combat support. However, according to expert Ben Berry of the International Institute for Strategic Studies IESS, Ukraine's widespread and innovative deployment of this type of vehicle could open up new steps. Miami said he enlisted in the army on the first day of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in early 2022. From an infantryman, he became an unexpected pilot and now takes on the role of testing and deploying armored robotic vehicles on the battlefield. It can be said that he has directly witnessed the transformation of modern warfare from hand-to-hand combat to the era of UAVs and battlefield robots. I never thought I would be a drone pilot, but the current conflict has forced us to adapt, Miami said. The machines his platoon operates are armored, painted in camouflage, and fitted with wheels or tracks that can move through rubble and terrain that humans would otherwise find difficult to navigate on the battlefield. Miami said, "They were delivered to us in their original condition and we modified them to better suit the combat environment. We adjusted the control system to counter Russian electronic warfare, ensuring that the signal would not be interrupted while moving." Now his team of 10 people has just started using the robot for tasks mainly used to transport food and ammunition. A soldier with the nickname Akeem said that when the FPV first-person view UAVs first appeared, they were also constantly skeptical about their combat capabilities. However, the pioneers themselves have proven their superior effectiveness. Robots can do the same. Before each mission, Akeem often sends the UAV to take off for reconnaissance, to inspect obstacles or minefields hidden on the battlefield. From a narrow underground bunker near Canton Tenipka, a city less than 10 kilometers from the front line and in a state of siege, he controls the device amid the sound of heavy artillery and the persistent buzzing sound of UAVs buzzing airborne. Tyan Tenipka, once home to 67,000 people, is now almost deserted, existing only on an ever-shrinking strip of land controlled by Ukraine. Just west of Bakhmut. The city is almost surrounded on 3 sides by Russian forces. The apartment blocks bear the scars of bombs and bullets, and smoke still rises from recent airstrikes. The roads leading to Pop are littered with burned-out cars. The UAV in the air allows AIM to observe the city and its routes from afar. He said that every time a UAV or robot does something, it means one of our soldiers does not have to risk their lives. Machines do not get tired and they can carry as much as they want. In daily activities, Akeem flies UAVs on reconnaissance missions, providing live images to support his teammates who are controlling the robots remotely. The machines are not equipped with cameras. On a recent occasion, about 200 kilograms of supplies including ammunition, fuel, water, and food onto the vehicle so it can slowly travel a few kilometers over rugged terrain to a hidden gathering point in the forest and then quietly return to base. However, the robot vehicle still has many limitations with a speed of about 6 kilometers per hour and often has to move on rough terrain. The robot easily becomes a delicious prey for enemy fire. Miami explained, "That's why we haven't used it much for casualty evacuation. Some people even refuse to leave on the vehicle because of the danger." The financial burden is not small either. A vehicle that Miami's platoon is operating costs an average of 400,000 rupiah, equivalent to about $9,700 US. He said that was not a very expensive number, but when 3 or 4 were destroyed in just 1 week, the total cost would be huge. Under such pressure, Ukrainian soldiers continuously sought to improve the robot vehicle. They welded an iron cage around it to protect against suicide UAVs, and attached metal rollers in front to help detect finer details. After more than 3 years of fighting, this Ukrainian battlefield has turned into a real combat laboratory. There, each failure is considered a lesson for soldiers to improve military equipment to help the combat machines operate more effectively.